This is how a prime Mike Tyson would have knocked Jake Paul out. Mike is close to the ropes and Jake goes in with a jab to set up a left hook. While Mike was moving to his left, Mike catches the left hook, and now he's in a southpaw stance with his foot on the outside, setting up his backhand.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
The controversy surrounding Jake Paul and Mike Tyson reached new heights when Gervonta Davis, often referred to as Tank, publicly accused Jake Paul of scripting his fight with the legendary Mike Tyson. Davis did not hold back, lambasting Paul for disrespecting the sport of boxing with what he called an orchestrated spectacle.
You want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough?
Yeah, would you ever do a fight like that?
I feel as though in my career, I can't do that right now.
Fans of the sport, who had already begun questioning the authenticity of the fight, found Davis's statements to be a rallying cry for accountability in boxing. The frustration with Paul's approach to boxing, especially his tendency to take on older or less competitive opponents, became the center of the discourse. Davis's comments not only added fuel to the fire, but also intensified public demand for Paul to fight a legitimate current boxer like him. The call for a match between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul stems from their similarities in age and competitive status, as Davis is in his prime and an active professional boxer. Fans and critics alike argue that a match between the two would not only be fair, but would also provide Paul with an opportunity to prove his legitimacy as a boxer. Davis's outrage highlighted the contrast between him and Paul. Davis, a seasoned fighter with a reputation to uphold, versus Paul, a social media star accused of reducing the sport to a form of entertainment devoid of authenticity.
We signed the contract with Netflix and I brought him the deal. So you're welcome, my son. I'm gonna discipline you like a son. So shut the f up with all that need this, need that. We brought you the deal, and remember that too.
The controversy surrounding the Tyson-Paul fight has had a lasting impact on the sport of boxing. The allegations of scripting and the subsequent backlash have raised important questions about the direction of the sport and the role of celebrity-driven events for fans of traditional boxing. The Tyson fight represented a low point, with many arguing that it undermined the integrity of the sport. The fallout from the fight has also had a significant impact on Jake Paul's reputation, while Paul has built a successful career by leveraging his social media. Following the controversy surrounding the Tyson fight has highlighted the limitations of his approach. Critics argue that Paul's reliance on spectacle and controversy has come at the expense of his credibility as a boxer.
He's saying he brought you the deal, but you feel like the deal needed you. That Mike Tyson had to be a part of this in order for this room to be filled this way at Fanatics Fest in Hudson Yard in New York. So the disrespect coming from this dude, how does that make you feel?
The fallout from the Tyson-Paul fight was palpable on social media, with countless fans expressing disappointment and anger. One notable reaction came from a Twitter user, IHoldWL Life, who tweeted, "The Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight was the worst scripted fight I have ever seen. Way to sell your legacy, Mike." This tweet echoed the sentiments of many fans who believed that the fight was staged and that Mike Tyson, a revered figure in boxing history, had compromised his legacy for financial gain. The accusation struck a chord, as Tyson's career had been defined by his ferocity and dominance in the ring, and many felt that this fight undermined those achievements. Adding to the controversy was Jake Paul's cryptic remark. When asked about his confidence in defeating Tyson during a media appearance, Paul was pressed on his bold claims of knocking out Tyson, to which he responded, "It's already written." This statement was seen by many as a tacit acknowledgement of the fight's predetermined outcome, further fueling the suspicions of critics. The phrase, "it's already written," quickly gained traction online, with fans dissecting its meaning and drawing connections to the rumors of a staged fight.
He ain't got nothing. He ain't got nothing. And that is it.
Mike Tyson, you're next, big boy. This is my sport now. I'm gonna take your throne, brother. Let's go, New York.
Paul's comment not only raised questions about the Tyson fight, but also amplified concerns about his approach to boxing as a whole. His cryptic remark, "it's already written," added fuel to the claims that the Tyson fight was predetermined, creating a cloud of doubt around his intentions and credibility. Critics seized on this moment to highlight Paul's history of facing opponents who were either past their prime like retired MMA fighters or individuals with little professional boxing experience. This selective matchmaking was seen by many as a way to inflate his record without genuinely challenging himself, undermining the integrity of the sport. Traditional boxing purists viewed Paul's rise as a symptom of a larger problem: the prioritization of entertainment over competition. While celebrity boxing events brought new audiences to the sport, they also risked alienating longtime fans who valued boxing's discipline, unpredictability, and authenticity. Paul's approach centered around spectacle and social media clout, starkly contrasted with the ethos of boxing legends who earned their reputations through years of grueling matches against top-tier opponents. The controversy surrounding Paul highlighted the growing divide within boxing, forcing the sport to reconcile its traditional values with the influence of celebrity-driven narratives. It raised pressing questions about how boxing could evolve without losing its core identity.
Yep.
Iron Mike, it's an honor to be on the stage with you. You're a legend, but let's get right to the chase. Is this fight happening or not?
It's happening. We're all here.
The aftermath of the fight saw social media erupt with accusations that the match had been rigged. Among the most notable reactions was a tweet from user Kitty Gia, who wrote, "I don't care what anyone says, he was paid to lose. It was indeed rigged. It was a publicity stunt for Jake's name." This statement resonated with fans who believed that Tyson's performance had been intentionally subdued to ensure Paul's victory. The idea that Tyson had agreed to lose for the sake of bolstering Paul's reputation gained traction as fans dissected the fight's key moments. Critics pointed to Tyson's apparent lack of aggression and willingness to let Paul dictate the pace of the fight as evidence of a predetermined outcome. The tweet from Kitty Gia encapsulated the frustration of many fans who felt that the fight had been reduced to a mere publicity stunt rather than a legitimate sporting event amid the heated discussions about Jake Paul. Controversial fight with Tyson. Attention began to shift toward a potential match between Paul and Gervonta Davis. When asked about the possibility of such a fight, Jake Paul's team manager stirred further controversy by stating Jant needs Jake. This bold assertion was widely criticized by fans and analysts who pointed out that Davis, a decorated professional boxer, had nothing to prove against Paul, whose boxing credentials were often questioned. The manager's statement seemed to downplay Davis's accomplishments while positioning Paul as the bigger draw in the bout. This narrative did not sit well with fans of Davis, who argued that Paul needed to face legitimate opponents like Davis to gain credibility. The manager's comment was perceived as an attempt to shift the narrative away from the ongoing controversy surrounding the Tyson fight and toward a potential blockbuster matchup with Davis.
He one of the most delusional people in the world, so I wouldn't be surprised if all this stuff is real. And then Jake Paul gonna say he'll be down to fight Gervonta Davis next after Tank said he would beat the brakes off him.
As the backlash against the Tyson-Paul fight continued to grow, the public began to rally behind the idea of a fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Fans argued that such a matchup would not only restore some credibility to Paul's boxing career, but also provide a much-needed contrast to the spectacle of the Tyson fight. The demand for a Davis-Paul fight was driven by a desire to see Paul tested against a legitimate opponent who was in his prime and actively competing. Davis's public criticism of Paul added to the anticipation, with fans eager to see how Paul would respond. The prospect of a fight between the two highlighted the growing tension between traditional boxing and the new wave of influencer-driven matches. Many fans viewed a potential Davis-Paul fight as an opportunity to bridge the gap between these two worlds, while others saw it as a chance to expose Paul's limitations as a boxer.
Honestly, this is a fight I would love to see, bro, because I would love to see Tank knock the shit out of this man, bro, because this man think he all that because he beat up an old Mike Tyson. You couldn't even knock this man out. This man went a whole 8 rounds with you at the age of 58, and you only won because of a vote. So what makes you think you could knock out somebody that's around your age and that's in their prime? And he's one of the best boxers in the world. Yeah, I can't wait to see this fight if this does happen.
Following the controversy surrounding the Tyson fight, Gervonta Davis did not hold back in calling out Jake Paul for what he saw as an affront to the sport of boxing. Davis's challenge was met with enthusiasm from fans who were eager to see Paul face a real opponent. The prospect of a fight between Davis and Paul was particularly appealing given the similarities in their ages and the stark contrast in their professional boxing records. While Paul had built his reputation on fights against older or less experienced opponents, Davis's record was a testament to his skill and dedication to the sport. Fans argued that a match between Davis and Paul would be a true test of Paul's abilities as a boxer. Unlike Tyson, who was well past his prime, Davis was an active competitor with a reputation for taking on tough opponents. The idea of Paul stepping into the ring with someone of Davis's caliber excited fans who were eager to see whether Paul could hold his own against a legitimate professional boxer.
Tank versus Jake Paul. I'm calling it now. I need Tank to knock him out. He's already calling him a bozo for not knocking Mike Tyson out and sharing the ring with him. Jake Paul was calling out Canelo. Hey, I would love to see Canelo knock him out too. All I'm saying is we need to not let Jake Paul run and fight another old boxer. You know what I'm saying? He don't need to pull out Roy Jones or nobody else. You know, don't try to fight Floyd Mayweather. No, you need to fight a real boxer this time. A real boxer in their prime like Jake Paul is in his prime. And no disrespect to Jake Paul, this is my first time actually watching him fight, but he is a big draw. People are going to come in and watch him fight.
The controversy surrounding the Tyson-Paul fight escalated when a Twitter user, Azar Lone, shared an alleged leaked script of the match. The post stated the below script is getting viral on the internet by the name leaked script of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. This revelation further fueled speculation that the fight's outcome had been predetermined. The alleged script purportedly outlined each round's events in detail, including specific moments where Tyson and Paul would appear to struggle or gain the upper hand. This level of precision in the alleged script heightened suspicions that the fight had been choreographed rather than competitive. Fans and analysts wasted no time dissecting the leaked script, comparing its details with moments from the fight. Many pointed out eerie similarities between the script's predictions and the actual events that unfolded in the ring, which only deepened the belief that the fight was pre-planned. The outrage stemmed from a feeling of betrayal as fans who had tuned in expecting a genuine contest felt they had been duped into watching a staged performance. The leaked script became a central piece of evidence in the debate, with skeptics using it to argue that the fight had been nothing more than a publicity stunt. This fueled broader concerns about transparency and integrity in celebrity boxing.
In this video, I'm going to let you know whether the actual fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was fixed and why it was fixed. Listen, understand it was a big nostalgia hit. It got our attention. It was a big financial promotion for everybody, and it actually worked. Now, the fight was absolutely terrible, and it feels like Paul was holding back his punches, and at times Mike Tyson was holding back punches. If these guys went full out on each other, right, it would look bad on Jake Paul for knocking out a guy that's twice his age, right? And it would look bad on Mike Tyson if he got knocked out as well. It would tarnish his legacy.
The leaked script quickly became the centerpiece of discussions surrounding the Tyson-Paul fight, further inflaming an already volatile situation. Critics latched onto its existence as definitive proof that the match had been orchestrated from the start, eroding any remaining trust in the event's authenticity. For fans who cherish the unpredictability and adrenaline of real boxing matches, the very idea of a pre-written fight felt like an affront to the sport. It stripped away the element of competition, reducing the bout to a carefully choreographed act rather than a genuine battle of skill and endurance. What made the situation even more damning was how the alleged script aligned with key moments in the fight. Observers pointed out how Tyson's apparent lack of aggression and Paul's calculated moves mirrored the script's reported instructions. This uncanny similarity only deepened the outrage among viewers who felt betrayed by a spectacle they had been led to believe was authentic. The fallout from the leaked script didn't just impact the reputations of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. It sparked broader calls for reform in the handling of celebrity boxing events. Fans began demanding stricter oversight, with many arguing that such transparency was crucial to maintaining the sport's integrity and legacy.
Mike Tyson hit Jake Paul, knocked him out. It would ruin the legacy that Paul wants to leave as he continues to fight. He didn't want to tarnish that, losing to a guy who's twice his age. So we'll look back either way. So to answer your question, 100% this was fixed. They sat it out and talked about it. It went to decision because that was a neutral way to end it, and it went the full 8 rounds to keep people entertained. They didn't want it to end quickly. 100% it was fixed. It was smart on them. A big money grab. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
The controversy surrounding the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight began even before the first bell rang, adding fuel to the fire. Tyson's pre-fight interview hinted at his difference toward legacy, saying legacy is nothing. This statement struck a nerve with fans, many of whom had admired Tyson's storied career as one of the greatest boxers of all time. His dismissal of legacy was seen as uncharacteristic, especially for a fighter whose reputation had been built on a foundation of dominance and ferocity in the ring. Fans and analysts alike interpreted this remark as evidence that Tyson may have agreed to a fixed fight, prioritizing financial gain over the preservation of his legendary status. Reports of a $20 million payout for Tyson further fueled these suspicions, leading many to conclude that the fight was more about monetary benefit than competition. The idea that Tyson would compromise his legacy for financial reasons struck a chord with his supporters, creating a wave of disappointment and anger.
If Mike Tyson threw that fight for $20 million, he sold his soul. Selling your soul is going against your I am. Selling your soul is going against your moral compass for financial gain or materialism, which is why you get this empty, soulless look in Mike's face, because it's regretful what he did. He told this young lady that legacy is nothing.
Wait, T? The financial motivations attributed to Tyson painted a stark contrast to the fighter fans had idolized for decades. A man who once ruled the boxing world with an iron fist to many. Tyson's legendary status was built not just on his devastating power, but also on his raw authenticity. Watching him in what appeared to be a contrived spectacle was a bitter pill to swallow for some fans. The disappointment wasn't just about Tyson's legacy, but also what his alleged participation in a fixed fight signified for boxing as a whole. If even Tyson, an icon of the sport, could be implicated in such allegations, it raised troubling questions about the future integrity of high-profile matches, especially in the era of celebrity boxing.
He doesn't care about legacy, which is an indication that he sold his soul. We know Netflix set him down. Hey, we just got to make this look good. Hey, Mike, this is the new day and age. Think about the bag, think about the money. Let's not talk about the buffering fight that we had with Netflix last night, with all due respect. But I think Mike realized that signing a contract to do this and to script this fight was a big mistake.
Another tweet added to the controversy, this time from user Lightning WTB. The tweet stated Jake had to grab Mike in the first round because he heard that chin music and Mike held him up. Mike had him in the corner and let him walk out. This was never a real fight. This observation highlighted moments during the fight where Tyson appeared to hold back, allowing Paul to recover when he could have potentially ended the bout. Fans who analyzed the fight closely noted that Tyson, known for his knockout power and ability to finish fights decisively, seemed uncharacteristically restrained. The suggestion that Tyson intentionally let Paul off the hook only deepened suspicions that the fight had been staged. These moments, combined with the broader narrative of the fight being scripted, created an atmosphere of skepticism that overshadowed any positive aspects of the event as the fight progressed. Observers noted several odd interactions that cast doubt on its legitimacy. One of the most glaring examples was Tyson allegedly whispering instructions to Jake Paul during the bout. This unusual behavior led viewers to question whether Tyson was guiding Paul through a pre-arranged choreography rather than engaging in genuine combat. Additionally, referees were reportedly seen signaling Paul to avoid specific moves, adding to the growing list of peculiarities that undermined the fight's credibility. These moments of apparent cooperation between Tyson and Paul became a focal point for critics who argued that they were clear indicators of a choreographed spectacle rather than a competitive match. Fans took to social media to share clips and screenshots of these interactions, further fueling the controversy. The perception that the fight was staged not only tarnished the reputation of both fighters, but also raised broader concerns about the integrity of celebrity boxing events.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was 100% scripted. Mike Tyson repeatedly bit his boxing glove throughout the fight. When fights are scripted, fighters do weird gestures to signal that they're hurt. It's very possible Mike Tyson was biting on his glove to tell Jake Paul to calm down. Now, if that's not enough proof that this fight was scripted, in the middle of the fight, Mike Tyson is literally talking to Jake Paul while they are clinching. And in the middle of the fight, the referee told Jake Paul to stop measuring. For those of you who don't know, in boxing terms,
the accusations of rigging not only affected the credibility of the fight, but also placed Mike Tyson's legacy under intense scrutiny. For decades, Tyson had been celebrated as one of the most formidable fighters in boxing history, known for his devastating knockouts and ferocious approach in the ring. However, his involvement in a fight perceived as a publicity stunt threatened to overshadow his storied career. Critics argued that Tyson's willingness to participate in such an event was a disservice to his legacy and a betrayal of the sport's core values. The idea that Tyson would prioritize financial gain over preserving his reputation was particularly troubling for fans who had long admired his achievements. The fallout from the fight served as a reminder of the risks associated with celebrity boxing, where the lines between entertainment and competition often blur.
Hitting up for a knockout by seeing how far your opponent is with jab. The referee literally told Jake Paul to stop measuring, and before the fight, we see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul whispering stuff to each other.
The controversy surrounding the Tyson-Paul fight escalated when a Twitter user, Azar Lone, shared an alleged leaked script of the match. The post stated the below script is getting viral on the internet by the name leaked script of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. This revelation further fueled speculation that the fight's outcome had been predetermined. Fans and analysts dissected the alleged script, which reportedly outlined each round's events in detail, sparking outrage over the perceived lack of authenticity. The leaked script became a focal point in discussions about the fight, with critics arguing that it confirmed their suspicions of a staged event. The idea that such a script could exist was deeply troubling to fans who valued the unpredictability and raw emotion of boxing. The controversy surrounding the script further tarnished the reputations of both Paul and Tyson, with many fans calling for greater transparency and accountability in the sport, while the controversy surrounding the Tyson fight placed much of the blame on Tyson-Jake Paul also faced significant criticism as a social media influencer turned boxer. Paul had already been a polarizing figure in the sport, with many questioning the legitimacy of his boxing career. The allegations of a rigged fight with Tyson only added to these doubts, casting a shadow over Paul's accomplishments. In the ring, critics argued that Paul's reliance on orchestrated spectacles rather than genuine competition was detrimental to the sport of boxing. The perception that Paul was more interested in creating headlines than proving himself as a legitimate fighter undermined his credibility and alienated fans who valued the sport's integrity. The Tyson fight, rather than solidifying Paul's place in the boxing world, served as a reminder of the challenges he faced in earning respect as a serious competitor.
Mike Tyson biting on his gloves, whispering secrets to Jake Paul in the middle of the fight, and the referee literally telling Jake Paul to stop measuring during the fight. That should be enough proof that this fight is scripted.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.